Some people say life is momentary, that life ends as soon as death arrives. So they will spend every bit of their lives as their desire. Some believe that life is always changing, that there is nothing permanent, no truth or reality. They don't have principles, and so they live their lives without a purpose. Some also say that life is only about physical matters. To them, success is measured materially through the visible achievements obtained in this world only. For me, ironically, I realized the purpose of life right when I learned that I didn't have much time left to live. My name is Sara, I'm 16 years old. I'm the only child in my family, so it's only me, my mom, and my dad. I grew up in a pretty much non-religious environment. Not that my parents are atheists or anything, but they never actually took me to visit the church. As a result, I wasn't exposed to any life principles or faith, so I've never understood what it meant to live. As a kid, I've never been able to experience a normal childhood. I spent my time mostly watching other kids play and run around freely, as I wasn't allowed to do so. And why is that? Well, it was because of my illness. Unfortunately, ever since I was young, I suffered from breathing difficulties. Whenever I indulged in vigorous activities, the results would always be me experiencing severe coughing and chest pains. There were even times when I got admitted into the hospital. Because of this, my parents became wary of my health condition. Consequently, I wasn't allowed to play outside anymore. This indirectly limited my social interaction, and I became isolated. So most evenings, as other kids would joyfully spend their time kicking balls or chasing each other, I'd spend my time looking for ways to escape from the feeling of loneliness, and that is through reading. Eventually, I became fond of books, especially concerning science. I became a kid who was curious about nature and the phenomena within it. From then on, it became my passion and interest. It was then I found a meaning to my life, a goal that I want to achieve. I want to become a scientist. So I grew up as a dedicated student who focuses on her studies. I excelled in exams, and I guess I can say I managed to rank highest among my classmates. I aimed to get a scholarship for college in order to chase my dreams. And I'm not trying to brag, but I was pretty sure the scholarship was already in my hands. At that moment, everything seemed to be going smoothly. I saw a bright future, and I could see that my dreams were within my reach. Sadly, I spoke too soon. As I thought the sky was clear of clouds, a sudden rainstorm arrived. At one point in my life, my illness grew severe. My coughing and chest pains became more intense and frequent. At times, I started to cough out blood, until one day I collapsed. When I woke up, I realized I was already on the hospital bed. Obviously, I was hospitalized, and this right here was the starting point where my life began to fall apart. Little did I know that I wasn't meant to live a long life. The doctor diagnosed me with stage 3 lung cancer. I was devastated by that fact, and once again I felt empty and that my life meant nothing. My dreams and the only motivations I had suddenly crumbled into pieces. My efforts were wasted. It was as if my life came to a dead end. Starting from that day onwards, my parents managed to put on their brave faces. And then, being parents of course, insisted that I went for chemotherapy. So I went to the hospital just for the sake of obeying my parents. Just between you and me, I've googled my illness, and the chances of surviving lung cancer is only 5%. What else could I hope for? After the first few sessions of chemotherapy, I felt worse. It didn't feel as if I was getting any better. I was constantly tired, my body was weak and sore. I actually considered euthanasia as a way to finally end my life. Maybe I would have actually done it if it weren't for this kid that I met. When I first encountered Jannah, she was crying, trying to endure the pain. She looked pale and weak, which was probably due to chemotherapy. However, the second time I met her, It was like she was a different person. She looked so lively, high-spirited, as she played around with her friends. One day, while I was out in the park, Jannah came up to me and greeted me for the first time. I guess it was weird for me being outdoors. We had a small chat. From there I discovered that she was actually suffering from leukemia stage 4. She was very talkative. It was annoying at first, but then I found it quite soothing having small talks with her. It wasn't long until we became attached to each other. The thing that I find interesting about Jannah is she's the complete opposite of me. When I'm someone who has given up, depressed, and gloomy, she was always positive, pleasant, and cheerful. It had me wondering what was the source of strength. I mean, we were practically dying of cancer. What could possibly be her reason to still remain so hopeful? I believe that life doesn't end simply after death. My mum always told me that the world we're living in now is only temporary, and that the afterlife exists. At first, I was confused how some weird philosophy got stuck in this kid's mind. What she said didn't make any sense at first, but somehow her unwavering faith and her words touched me. There was this one time I told Jannah how I actually considered euthanasia. Of course I had to explain what euthanasia actually meant. Jannah was quite surprised, but then she blurted out another one of her philosophies. It's wrong to suicide. My mother says that Allah hates those who suicide. Whether we're blessed with a long life or a short one, the fact that we're still breathing, that's already a gift. Again, I was moved. Later on I became more curious and I asked her about her reasons to live and whether she feared death or not. I know logically speaking these aren't the questions that should be asked to a 9-year-old, but believe it or not, she gave me the answers I've been longing for. And she's the one who introduced me to Islam. Little did I know that our time spent together were to end sooner. One day, I received news that Jannah was already left this world. Turns out her cancer was already critical, and her medication has long been stopped. I went to her funeral and met her parents. There, her mother passed me a gift from Jannah. It was a book that she once mentioned of. It was a translation of the Holy Quran. When I received that final gift from Jannah, it was as if I received a new hope to hold on to. Yes, of course I was in despair with the loss of her best friend, but she definitely left a big impact in my life. As I read the Quran, Jannah's words became more clear, and the philosophies she mentioned were actually the principal thought in Islam. It wasn't long until I was engrossed in the Islamic way of viewing life. In Islam, everyone is created with the same purpose, which is to gain maratillah, or seeking the pleasure of Allah. That alone is a huge reason to live. In Islam, life in this world and the hereafter are both important. Islam doesn't focus only on the afterlife, but rather it asks its believers to fully utilize their life in this world and yet prepare for the other. In Islam, everyone is equal in the eyes of Allah, despite different races and cultural backgrounds. And the only difference between us is what lies in our hearts. In Islam, we believe that in life we are always tested by Allah, but He will never burden us with what we can't bear to handle, which is why it's wrong to give up. I learned that Islam is a perfect religion. Islam answers all the questions regarding life: how life begins, how it ends, what's the purpose of life, the existence of God. Somehow all of these made my heart at peace. As of now, I'm still going through treatment, battling with cancer. I can't really say I've improved medically, but I've become better spiritually and emotionally. I've come to realize how Jannah was able to smile, even in the last few days of her life. She wasn't afraid of death, because she knew she was returning to her Creator. Death doesn't only come after age and illness. We never know when our time will come to an end, so we should always live our lives to the fullest and equip ourselves with amal for the akhirah. Oh, I forgot to mention, Alhamdulillah, I've finally chosen Islam as my religion. I believe that Islam is perfect, and it is the only religion accepted by our Creator. As stated in the Quran, in Surah Al-Ma'idah, "This day I have perfected for you your religion, and completed my favor upon you, and have approved for you Islam as your religion."
If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you. If you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see, I'll be the light to guide you. Find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on